As it counts 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're adjudicated guilty, sentenced to 30 years, Florida State prison, 581 days credit.
The person they just made me out to be, I'm scared of that person that they just tried to make me out to be. I was doing good out there. I was not selling drugs. I wasn't doing none of that. I was trying to get my life on track, man. And this man just told me you're trying to give me 13 years. I'm having a heart attack. Your Honor, I'm sorry. Please don't sentence me to 13.
I'm 61 years old. How much time have I got left?
Courtroom 360 Insights. Why do some turn to selling drugs as an avenue of income? Is it for greed, fame, fortune, or simply the only thing they know how to do? Here's 5 drug thugs. You be the judge. The notorious Johnson brothers, whose reign of terror in the underworld shocked the community.
2-year-old Rashad Johnson and his brother, 35-year-old Marquez Johnson. They were arrested last year, tried in court together, and both found guilty.
The drug charges they were convicted of included gang enhancements because the brothers were identified as the leaders of the 1200 Out East gang.
As the brothers were being led away, Rashad turned to his family and waved goodbye.
Rashad, 32 years, and Marquez Johnson, 35. 2 brothers from a modest background rose to infamy as they led a drug empire that a lot of people were scared of. Both of these brothers were responsible for the control and sale of drugs around the Jacksonville area, and with drug pushing, violence often followed. Both men were arrested not only on 1, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 drug counts. These fools didn't learn. They were arrested in 2021 at a trap house on Jacksonville East Side, which they were known for being in charge of.
They had the opportunity to better their lives after serving 3 years in the Florida State prison, and they came back out and continued doing the same pattern of criminal activity that they've been arrested so many times before for. They even moved out of their community. But instead of staying out of their community and getting jobs, the court has heard nothing from any of these witnesses about legal jobs that they had. They provided for their families financially, but how are they doing that? By selling drugs.
These 2 men didn't take that different path, didn't take the chances afforded them. They made a different choice.
Law enforcement officials and former associates described the Johnson brothers as ruthless and cunning, using violence and intimidation to maintain control. Marquez lost a freaking leg in a gang shootout. He pulled the victim card and claimed he was the victim when he took the stand to make a statement. They didn't stop there. Their families even took the stand to make statements about their good character, but sadly, it wasn't enough.
I often think about the things I could have done different as a parent. I know my sons could have had a better outcome in life.
And he's a family man?
He is.
And do you feel he's a good father?
He's a great father. Your Honor, I pray and ask that you're merciful. I pray that there's some resources to help them grow.
The Johnson brothers' criminal operation spanned across the state, trafficking illegal substances on a massive scale. They were identified as leaders of the notorious 1200 Out East gang, and conflict with rival gangs led to a series of violent confrontations. On the bright side, they seem to have a heart and apologize to the judge and their families.
I don't know what kind of sentence you will hand out today, but I would ask that you be lenient towards me. I have a beautiful family, which includes 4 kids and a stepchild. I am not a bad person. I'm not a monster. I'm not a gang member. Just a human being who made mistakes.
I'm not labeled as a menace, an animal, or a gang member, or in my community or anywhere else. And I just want to say I'm sorry to my family once again for putting me through this situation and letting them down.
However, the Johnson brothers' reign of terror was not destined to last when they were arrested and sentenced to 30 years imprisonment.
As it counts 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're adjudicated guilty, sentenced to 30 years Florida State prison, 581 days credit.
Let's take a look at another druggie, Felix Dorfin. Born in a small town, Dorfin seemed destined for an ordinary life. But who wants to settle for ordinary, right? Excitement, lust, and money ignited a desire to explore far beyond the comforts of his home. Dorfin's curiosity would lead him down a treacherous and wild path. Dorfin was arrested at the end of September 2017 at the airport in Lombok, Indonesia. He had arrived from Singapore with, according to the authorities, nearly 4 damn kilograms of cocaine, ecstasy, and amphetamines hidden in a double-bottom suitcase. Dorfin made headlines when he escaped police detention and was on the run for 2 weeks before he was caught. Indonesia don't play around when it comes to the bad boys like this. Dorfin was about to get the death penalty, but by the grace of God, prosecutors requested 20 years imprisonment. His lawyer, Denny Nurendra, described Dorfin as a victim who did not know the exact contents of what he was carrying. Dorfin seemed to have regrets on what he did, but I can't say the same for crocodile crying tears. Zi'aire Duffey. Born and raised in a rough neighborhood, Zi'aire Duffey grew up in an environment where drugs and crime were daily reality. Duffey was highly intelligent, charismatic, and street savvy. He quickly became involved in the narcotics trade and was in and out of the courtroom. Duffey, 25 years, was arrested for violation of his parole. This bad boy did not go down easy.
Duffey was wanted by the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force for an aggravated robbery out of Elyria. He led officers on a chase, even slamming into a police cruiser at one point. When marshals and officers caught up to him, his passenger started a Facebook Live broadcast.
Get out and get down! On the ground! Face first!
About 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the video, as Duffey is being arrested, you can hear the marshal refer to him as the N-word. It appears the marshal thought he was alone in the car at the time, not realizing the phone that was recording was tucked into the seat. Gene Rice has been the Lorain NAACP president for the last 24 years, says that marshal should be out of a job.
This person, or who, if it was more than one, they need to be taken from that position. I'm sorry. There's no other answer to it because they have done it before. This time they got caught.
Zi'aire Duffey has an extensive criminal history. Investigators are also asking he be charged with felonious assault on police officers for what he did during the chase.
And the marshals told us in a statement that they are disgusted by the use of such repugnant language by one of their own, and they are investigating. They say that since it's an internal matter, they can't release any more information about that marshal in question. We'll keep following this and let you know what happens next. Homa Bash, News 5.
Duffey's luck had finally run out. He was apprehended and charged, and the state prosecution did not show him an ounce of mercy. They had just had enough of him.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 16, 2017, Mr. Duffey was granted community control and judicial release and placed with the CBCF. Mr. Duffey was unsuccessfully terminated from the CBCF for allegedly destroying some toilets that closed down those bathrooms for several days for repair. A probable cause hearing was had because of those violations, and Mr. Duffey was continued on community control. After the unsuccessful discharge, Mr. Duffey started reporting to me. At that time, since reporting to me, he's produced 5 positive drug tests for marijuana, 1 positive drug test for oxycodone, marijuana, and cocaine. Due to these positive drug tests, he was ordered to obtain an assessment at Licata, which he did, but failed to follow Licata's recommendations. He has failed to call SAM, the substance abuse monitoring phone line, 18 times, and has failed to report for 3 drug tests. On March 19, 2018, Mr. Duffey was charged with domestic violence, disrupting public service, unlawful restraint, and possession of cocaine by the Lorain Police Department. He did call me to tell me that he was arrested. I ordered him to report to me on March 20th, but he failed to do so, and on March 21st, a KPS was issued. On May 11th, 2018, Mr. Duffey was charged with theft, a felony 4, and aggravated robbery, a felony 1 by the Elyria Police Department. He was recently accused of driving his vehicle into a police vehicle while police were attempting to arrest him on this court's KPS. After ramming the police vehicle, a car pursuit took place. Once Mr. Duffey was arrested after that car pursuit, the police department found 20 grams of suspected heroin and 18 grams of suspected crack cocaine, along with $4,800.
Judge, he has been involved in a number of offenses involving guns, drug trafficking, high-speed chases with the police. He has no regard for society. He has no regard for the police. He has posted on Facebook F12, which means F the police. He's uncooperative with the police.
This right here is a real bad boy. They sought the maximum sentence for his offense. Time to turn on the waterworks, Duffey.
Your Honor, I was doing good out there. I really was, Your Honor. I made it off the SAMS program. You told me you gave me 30 days to get my system clean. I came back from my system clean. I did all the calls this lady asked me to, and she granted me permission to not even have to call the SAMS program no more. I was doing good, Your Honor. I really was. I was doing good. They just made me look like a monster. The person they just made me out to be, Your Honor, I'm scared of that person that they just tried to make me out to be. Your Honor, I was doing good out there. I was not selling drugs. I wasn't doing none of that. I wasn't. I was trying to get my life on track, man. And this man just told me you're trying to give me 13 years. I'm having a heart attack. Your Honor, I'm sorry. Please don't sentence me to 13 years, Your Honor. Please don't. I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster. I'm telling you.
The judge wasn't taking the bait. Duffey had been in his courtroom over 8 times. God damn. And that was enough for him.
I think I had plenty of time to observe how you would behave after you left prison. And you have not respected the court's orders. I gave you strict orders as to how you were to comport and conduct yourself. And you have not done that, even apart from the allegations about these pending charges. I hung significant prison time over your head, and I made it very clear to you that these would run consecutive, and that you had to follow very specific rules to stay out of prison, because the 8 cases you had in this courtroom showed to me that you were a thug, a potential menace to society. But because of your age and because of the family support you presented, I gave you an opportunity. I gave you more than one opportunity. I gave you more opportunities.
Ouch! Duffey tears now turned into a whole lot of attitude.
They will be concurrent to one another, but consecutive to other cases. 3 years of optional post-release.
What the hell, y'all see him wink at the camera? Oh hell no, that's a little scary now. At least Duffey got 13 years and 4 months to think about his life. I can't say the same about Robert Loyd Schellenberg. Robert Loyd Schellenberg was born in Canada, appeared to live an unremarkable life. However, behind his facade, a hidden world of drug smuggling lurked, to which Schellenberg was a mastermind. Robert was caught when he tried to smuggle over 200 grams of drugs from a city in China to Australia. Although he gave the Chinese officials quite the fight before he was arrested, he found out that his interpreter was a little snitch and contacted Chinese authorities about his drug smuggling operation. So this fool fled, but then was freaking caught when his plane had a layover stop. Damn, layover did Robert dirty. Robert was tried by Chinese court and sentenced to 15 years in prison. And fate caught up with Schellenberg when he appealed the sentence a couple months later. His appeal bit him in the butt. Around this time, a high-profile Chinese woman was arrested in Canada and apprehended by law enforcement.
We're by no means done, and I will continue to work very hard with our team here to get clemency for Robert.
Now, Ambassador Barton adds he doesn't think it's a coincidence that the decision in Schellenberg's case was...
Now, this thrust him into a high-profile trial with the potential for international conflict. But luck wasn't on Robert's side, as he was sentenced to death, a sentence far worse than his previous one. Damn, that's messed up. And word on the street is they did this to put pressure on Canada to release Miss Ming. Here's another messed up case. Jeff Mizanskey. Mizanskey spent over 2 decades in prison for a non-violent drug offense, but never gave up on his dreams of freedom and second chances.
In 1996, Jeff Mizanskey was sentenced to life in a Missouri prison for something a lot of people now might think is not that big of a deal.
You were sentenced to life without parole for possession of marijuana?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Do you wonder, how did I get here?
Every day. It's unbelievable.
This is so wrong on so many levels. In 1996, police arrested Mizanskey for trying to sell 3 kilos of marijuana to a dealer with cartel relations. Mizanskey.
But now, when almost half the country, including Missouri, allows some form of medical marijuana use, with 2 states even allowing recreational use, he wonders why he's still doing hard time.
I say I can't figure it out.
Why should you go free?
Justice is supposed to be fair and equal. In my case, I don't think it was.
You damn right, Mizanskey.
I got grandkids I've never seen.
Do you think you will go free?
I think with the help of the people, I will. Eventually, if I can live long enough. I'm 61 years old. How much time I got left?
After 20 years of being in prison for an offense relating to a drug that was already legal, luck's shone on him when one of his interviews got the attention of Governor Jay Nixon, who helped commute his sentence. After over 20 years of darkness, he was finally walking into the light.
Watch the incredible moment that he walks free from prison after spending more than 2 decades in prison.
3 weeks ago, you said the first thing you wanted to do was get some new shoes. So
and I got them. Wow. Hey, it's like walking on air.
He has spent the years since his release actively campaigning for the approval of medicinal cannabis.
And since then, he has advocated for the medicinal use of marijuana. Y'all think it's crazy that people who murder spend less time in prison? I mean, some of these cases, they did the crime, but did way too much time. Courtroom 360 Insights.